So we've got 5 talks coming at 10 o'clock, and I thought it would be quite good for me to deliver a talk to pull all those together, to understand, because each talk is going to be about each of the separate faculties, the 5 spiritual faculties. And this talk will be sort of trying to pull those all together and how they all fit together. Okay, so I've got some slides. Here we go. Let's see if I can share these with you. Okay, so the 5 spiritual faculties. So they come from a body of work by the Buddha, the connected discourses of the Buddhas, the Samyutta Nikaya, from this book. Okay, and that book, most of the talks in that the Buddha gave were delivered from the picture you see in front of you, which is the Buddha's hut at Shravasti, where he gave most of his talks. Okay, so I just thought, for those thinking about pilgrimage, I thought we'll probably get to see this at some point when we're able to get to India. Okay. So the 5 spiritual faculties are faith, energy, mindfulness, meditation, and wisdom. So in Pali, they're Shraddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, and Prajna. But Prajna's not in Pali. I've changed it slightly so it accords more with Yanamitra's talk. Okay, so we've got 5 qualities there, and you can see how they all fit together. So we understand what's been those 5 qualities, but how do they all fit together? Okay, so the Indriyas. So as you can see, they're called, oops, I'll just go back there, Panca Indriyani. In Pali, is 5, Indriyana is senses. Okay, so here's an excerpt from an Indian school book, a current Indian school book that I found, and you can see a picture I was quite taken by the picture on the left, but what you can see is that each of the senses are called Indriyas. To this day, they're called Indriyas. Okay, so that's just so body, tongue, nose, eye, ears. Each of the 5 senses are called the Indriyas currently in India, and were in the Buddha's day. Okay, so Indriya comes from a root meaning governing or controlling. So because Indra was the king of the gods in ancient Buddhist cosmology, and so it came to mean controlling or governing. So this is a view that the senses, our sense experience, governs how we behave. So we react to the experiences that we're having, and that's why they're called controlling senses. So, and in this, the way we're talking about them here is in the spiritual sense. So the Pancha Indriyana are the 5 spiritual faculties. So again, the controlling or governing senses or experiences. So these 5 experiences govern how we operate, or can govern how we operate in the spiritual sense in our dharmic life. Okay, so we've got 5. We've got wisdom and faith, meditation and energy, and mindfulness. The Buddha didn't talk about this balancing idea, about pairing some of these spiritual faculties up, but in the commentaries, the later commentaries on the Buddha's teachings, this comes out. So this idea of balance. So if you like, if you're too far involved in the wisdom aspect, you know, you're very much in the sort of scientific, logical and reasoning side of your Dharma practice, and you lose touch with the faith. You need to balance that up with faith and sort of look at the more creative and imaginative side. And if you're too much into the imaginative side and you tend to move down the path of accepting things without reason, without questioning them without fully analyzing them and making sure that you're happy with them. So those two balance up quite nicely, and we'll hear more about those shortly. And then the other pair is meditation and virya, meditation and energy or vigor. So if we do too much meditation, if we sit down in meditation for too much, we don't actually get out and do something active in the world. So the Buddha was, in terms of virya, the Buddha is talking about going out into the world and teaching the Dharma and doing things for the good of the population, the local population. So just going away and hiding in a cave or in your shrine room, wherever it might be, and not going out and taking your Dharma out with you is not good. It's not a good, very Dharmic thing to do. You need to balance that out with some energy. So take that outside. And again, if you do too much out in the world, you do too much maybe work, even Dharma work, going out and talking to people, you lose track of your inner life. You can lose where you should be in your meditation. So that, you know, the root, the spirit of your Dharmic energy. So keeping those two in balance is very important. And then finally, the last of the spiritual faculties is mindfulness. And mindfulness doesn't need balancing. And in effect, it balances all the other practices. So you can always be more and more mindful. There isn't a limit to mindfulness. You can't go too far in mindfulness. So this is sati. Swadeepa's going to talk more about this later on, so I'm not going to go into that too much, but mindfulness is, you know, what we're working at in meditation, in our everyday mindfulness even, you know, being aware of when we made our breakfast just now, what we're doing, when we spread the marmalade on the toast, not to burn the toast, make our tea just right, all those sort of things, that everyday mindfulness and the mindfulness of the spiritual life as well. Mindfulness of the Dharma, the Buddha's teachings. Okay. And then there's sort of two levels of the five spiritual faculties. So we've got the Pancha Indriyas, as we've just talked about, the spirit, but we've also got the Pancha Balas. Okay, so I'll talk about that. We just have a look at Pancha Indriyas in a sec now. So the Pancha Indriyas are the rule principles of our life. So they're training principles, really, things that we can train in, activities that we need to do. So like meditation we need to do, and virya we need to do, energy, going out and teaching the Dharma we need to do. And we practice those things. We practice faith. We increase our faith by doing puja and reading about the Buddha and reading about other people in the past who spread the Dharma. And we keep on practicing. We think about that and we work on that until we start to embody those five spiritual qualities. So our mindfulness and awareness grows and grows and grows, for instance. So we keep practicing. So that's the work that we're doing. But at some point, they become perfected. They become the Panchabalas. When we've worked on them enough, they become the Panchabalas. And they're called the five powers. So Bala means power. So this is the power that you emanate. When you have perfected the spiritual qualities, the spiritual faculties, these spiritual senses, you start to radiate them. So anybody you meet immediately comes into contact with your radiation of the five spiritual powers. They can be impressed by your faith, your meditation capabilities, your energy. And hopefully, maybe by the end of these talks, end of this practice, end of this weekend retreat, we'll go some way to perfecting those spiritual qualities within ourselves. So we're going to do quite a bit of meditation. over this weekend, over today, and a little bit more tomorrow if you're up for that, tomorrow morning, which will be perfecting that meditation. And hopefully, if you can stay mindful, in front of your screen, listening to the talks that are coming on, and accepting the wisdom that's coming in from people such as Jana Mitra, who's on my screen at the moment, then you can perfect those spiritual qualities. So the five pillars, these spiritual qualities, are really controlling our tendencies, start to overrule our natural human tendencies. So as you can see there, the Shraddha Bala controls doubt. So the doubt of what we're doing, of the spiritual life, of where our life is taking us, or the things that we've done in the past. So where we start to doubt ourselves, these powers overrule that, and we realize that we can work through that. We can control that doubt. We can be master of that doubt and turn it round back to faith. And in the same way with all the others. So we've got Virya Bala, which controls laziness, our tendency to just sit here and do nothing. It's easier to do nothing, isn't it? Just stay with the status quo rather than going out and doing things. Sati Bala controls heedlessness, so not being aware of what's going on. It's an odd word, heedlessness. I can just about say it. And so in a way, we try and shut off from a lot of that's going on around us. But being aware, if we increase our awareness, our mindfulness, increasing our mindfulness, that's what we need to be doing. So we're in control of that. We know where we're going. We're pushing ourselves forward in our increasing mindfulness. We're not going in the opposite direction. And samadhi, often translated as concentration, but really samadhi in this sense means meditation, the 4 dhyanas. And Amoghavajra is going to talk a bit more about that later on. And so that will control distraction. Being in meditation, it will increase our ability to focus on whatever we want to focus on, which is what we're trying to do in meditation, to take things up, to actually really focus in, to look at a flower in great depth, for instance, and see the colors, the beauty of something, and really take time to take in via our physical senses, by our physical injuries, the beauty of the world around us. And then finally we come to wisdom, which controls ignorance. So I don't know about you, but I always feel there's quite a lot of ignorance within this head of mine. I try and learn as much as I can, but there's a lot I don't know. And you can easily stay in that ignorant state, or even revert, try and forget things. We often try and forget things. Oh, I didn't like the way I did that, so I'm going to forget it. We push it into our subconscious. But this is trying to keep everything conscious, increasing our awareness, increasing our knowledge, our wisdom of the world around us, our knowledge of reality, our understanding of reality, the world that we inhabit. So not shying away from it, not trying to be ignorant, not trying to close off from the world in which we exist, but trying to really go out to it, really stretching that boundary and trying removing ignorance. So that's really it. I think that's just to introduce you how they all fit together, and that it comes directly from the Buddha. These 5 spiritual faculties are something that the Buddha taught directly to his disciples 2,500 years ago. So and it's something that can speak to us now, things that we're aware of and that we can work on.